Hello, my name is Danny Marmol, and today we're talking about the future of business continuity and disaster recovery with Jon Busshart, Ryan Clarkson, and Gus Iannello. But first, let's look at what BCDR is and some of the basics around it.
So certainly we could look at business continuity, disaster recovery as very a broad spectrum, all the way down to if your employees get trapped in your building for one reason, or do you need water have place, all the way up to some of the digital aspects we talk about, like recent ransomware type of attacks, and realistically we need to protect against all of that. But I think our focus today is really going to be on the digital aspects of protecting our data to keep our business up and running. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think we need to focus more on the data aspect of this and the, application recovery, data recovery in case of certain disasters or outages of any kind.
And I think you can also include, storage into that conversation, right? Because, long-term retention and getting a copy of your data offsite are big cornerstones in disaster recovery and business continuity.
What are some of the concerns coming from end users around their BCDR needs, and how is Ingram helping resellers overcome them?
So I think one of the major problems that end users are facing today is just massive data growth. There's just so much data that's getting put into their companies that they're consuming and they using to kind of grow their business. So just the sheer amount of data that they're having to protect is becoming a major problem for a lot of customers.
I'm happy if they've got a business continuity disaster recovery strategy floating around. A lot of these guys out there, they've got their businesses relying on data that's unprotected, or they think maybe storage snapshots is the be-all, end-all for data protection. But there is so much more to receiving your information, especially when we look at some of the new threats that are out there. And that's certainly, with things that have happened with SolarWinds and ransomware and things like that.
Yeah, and I'd say, like, from an Ingram perspective, what they're doing to help resellers overcome this is, they're enabling resellers on new vendors that are going beyond just, basics of data protection and disaster recovery, right? They're helping them become more proactive with solutions that are more focused on data management and exposing vulnerabilities as well as risk management.
Oh, not even only to mention, like our business transformation center, which I'm going to selflessly plug here. We have the ability to put some of your scenarios into place to see if they'll work. So that's another way that we can work, but we have a variety of things that we can do.
What are the key words that our resellers should be listening for in their conversations with end users? And what are some of the questions to ask to discover opportunities?
Well, for me, I love talking to end users about new storage opportunities because I think that's a really great time to dig in and start to inquire about what their BCDR plans are and why they're adding that storage, right? Are they experiencing data growth? What kind of data are they looking to protect? And are there, regulatory or compliance considerations that, you want to know how they're currently managing, and are there better, efficient ways to do so?
Oh, I love your conversation around regulatory compliances, certainly. Anytime, I would agree with that. Anytime your customer is expanding their storage, if it's important enough for their business, their line of business, to be able to expand or add more storage inside their environment, that data is important enough to be backed up within their infrastructure. And any time's a good time to have a conversation with your customer about business continuity. You'll find that you'll explore more about their business and uncover opportunities anywhere. And even if they're maybe putting an application out in the cloud, right? You really need data protection around the cloud as well. What's their plan around that?
Yeah, I think another topic that comes up a lot, especially nowadays, is ransomware, right? So how are companies protecting themselves from ransomware, and what is their plan to recover if they do get attacked? So a lot of people spend a lot of the time protecting against the ransomware to start with, but from a recovery perspective, making sure that you're able to recover if you are attacked is another big topic that customers are looking at.
Yeah, ransomware certainly takes our discussions around recovery time and recovery point objective and flips them around, or makes them a little bit more dramatic as far as the solutions are concerned.
And when you ask your customers how long can they tolerate to lose data, and that is shrinking by itself, right? So at that point, we always know that driving that business continuity plan is imperative.
I think the ransomware topic also has made folks kind of reconsider, solutions that they've been using maybe, historically, that they said, well, it backs it up, it works. I know we're protected there, but, a lot of these new backup solutions are having integrations or functionality that's, pitched right towards ransomware, so that, it goes beyond just backup, and customers need to start, upgrading and utilizing that stuff to make sure they're protected.
Yeah, especially since the hackers now, they're actually targeting backups because they know that customers are recovering their data from that. So they're actually targeting the backup solutions prior to attacking the primary storage or the network. So it makes recovery harder.
So basically, in closing, any storage opportunity is good to dig into and understand why. How has the modern application and cloud solutions changed the way organizations protect their data?
Oh, certainly. When we look at the applications are made on a modern framework, something that involves containers, Kubernetes, Docker, and solutions like that. That's really changed the way that we've done traditional backups. And I know a lot of our customers that are out there haven't fully embraced containers, but it's certainly coming down the road. And the time is now to start thinking about that, because that's going to make portability between on-prem and in the cloud as well. And once we start talking about cloud, there's another opportunity for discussion around business continuity, disaster recovery, because I bet you a lot of your customers are thinking about ways to be able to protect their data that sits up there.
Yeah, I would say cloud-based applications have kind of changed everything in BCDR, because now customers have to learn how to protect their applications and their application workloads and data, not only on premise traditionally, but also their cloud-based applications as well. And that brings a whole new aspect into how we're going to manage it all as one.
Oh, absolutely. Just because the email server exists up at Amazon doesn't mean the CEO is going to want that lost email at 2 a.m., right? So
Exactly.
having that solution around.
Right. And the same token with SaaS applications as well, customers are now purchasing solutions that are geared towards backing up those solutions as well, because that data is just as important as vulnerable as, traditional or even, managed on-prem or in the cloud, I should say, solutions.
Yeah. And a lot of customers too, they're looking now at how they can utilize the cloud to store data too, right? If that's going to be more efficient, not just protect the application, but actually where to locate data is important for them as well.
Yeah, I see a lot of people using the cloud as the end result of the long-term retainment of data for a longer period. You don't necessarily want to go there and get those egress fees if you pull that on out, right? But it is a good way to keep data around for a long time, whereas maybe we used tape in the past, right?
Yeah, like archiving is a great example of that, right? So archiving data that doesn't need to be accessed often is a great use case for cloud.
Not that I'm saying buy less tape that's out there. If you want to keep your data around for the longest period of time, tape is certainly the least expensive way to do that. But it's a part of an overall comprehensive business continuity strategy now.
I agree. And in some cases, some of the cloud providers are providing some of that glacier storage on tape.
Yeah, absolutely.
How can partners build or enhance their practice around BCDR?
Well, I think that partners who are looking to enhance BCDR should start looking at data management solutions if they haven't already. Solutions that are giving customers a proactive posture against things like ransomware, right? So they're managing their data growth, they're understanding their vulnerabilities, they're seeing what data is at risk, and data growth is not going away anytime soon. So their customers are going to be forced to adopt these solutions so that they have a better hold of their data and aren't vulnerable.
Yeah, building a whole assessment practice around business continuity, disaster recovery, I think would be very important for our resellers out there to accomplish it. And I know in the end, sometimes people, have these assessments as a fee, but if they uncover opportunities, you can almost waive that fee for certain customers and like that. And once you learn more about their environment, other opportunities kind of open themselves up as well. And they may not even be BCRD related.
Yeah, I think another thing partners can do too to help their customers is consultative type of activities, right? So helping them on their journey to cloud, right? So what kind of data do we want to put in the cloud? Helping them determine what data we want to protect from ransomware into if we're going to do a cyber recovery type of solution or a cyber vault.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
that consultative type of thing is going to be good.
Yeah, yeah. From business continuity perspective, what applications do you want in the cloud and what do you want on site? What level of ROI and recovery point objective, and recovery time objective do you need out of the app? And that may make those choices as to where you place that application.
Yeah, and different applications are going to have different levels of RPO and RTO. So determining which ones are critical, that's a very challenging thing for a lot of
Oh
customers.
yeah, I know. If you ask a customer what they want their the RPO and the RTO to be, they're going to tell you zero every single time until it becomes a capex and opex type of discussion. It becomes a money type of discussion, and you got to have those discussions. And that's really where the consultative fees can come into place.
Absolutely.
And the basic thing to take away from all this is you need to be having the discussion to
Oh
drive.
yeah. There's
Yeah.
so many people are not having the discussion.
Exactly. And they're just leaving money on the table. How are BCDR technologies evolving?
Things are evolving. I mean, I remember the days when we put a single application on a server, and if that piece of hardware went away, right, it took us a day to get our application back up from tape or something like that. But certainly, the advent of virtualization, now if a piece of hardware fails, normal HA type of components, we'll restart that application on another host. So our customers' expectation over time has changed as far as a recovery time objective and recovery point objective. We expect to get our applications up a lot quicker. I've seen things morph. We use tape is very important, but we use tape a lot less than we use other mediums that are out there as our first line of defense. Certainly snapshots isn't the be all and end all as far as storage, but it is a good place to start off a recovery of some data within an environment, right? And then maybe your second tier, I see a lot of people using like a D2D disk-based backup solution to be able to recover things. And then now, again, people are always going to tape. They're passing things up to the cloud, and they're using that as their long-term archival process. And that's how I see things have changed over time. The retention and the recovery process, and how quickly we can get back to our applications.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gus.
Oh, sorry, Ryan. I was just going to say, I think especially in the backup space, there's been a renewed focus on user experience, right, with modern user interfaces, web-based user interfaces that are incorporating things like role-based access control, two-factor authentication for an extra layer of protection, and API integration. So, these solutions are starting to pull in people like, your VM admins, your database admins to be part of the recovery process and the managing of those workloads outside just the backup team.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm concerned if the CEO comes to me and needs an email recovery, but the average everyday person at 1 a.m., I'm not so concerned. So I want to give them power to be able to recover their data or roll back their information when they need to.
Yeah, we're definitely living in a society where we want our data and our information now, right? We don't want to wait even like seconds for it. So even that's coming down to the BCDR type of play from data protection. We want to be able to recover faster, to your point, John. I think, a lot of the newer technologies like SSDs are creeping into the backup world as well, where we're using flash drives to do different things from better deduplication, faster ingest, faster recoveries. And a lot of vendors now are actually able to rebuild your application or your virtual machine straight on the recovery or the backup device to bring that back into production quicker and much more efficiently.
Yeah, there's that term, instant virtual machine recovery. Right, I love that term. That means I'm getting something back really quick.
Yeah.
So where do you guys see the future of BCDR heading?
So I kind of look at it as a newer term is coming out. It's called data management, right? So we're not just doing backups. We're not just doing replication and high availability. It's kind of data management, how we're going to manage our entire data set, because things are moving from on-premise to the cloud. So how do we manage that consistently and be able to move our data back and forth between the cloud and on-premise and our backups and our protection data seamlessly and easily?
Yeah, and when you say between cloud and on-premise, that implies containers, and a lot of people are going to be moving to container-based platforms. And at that point, if it's a container that's living on-prem or migrating up into the cloud or coming back and forth, your data protection strategy's got to change along with that. How are you going to protect those applications that are out there?
And another piece to that is, especially in the data management conversation, is managing the data that now resides on those remote endpoints, right? Of these new large-scale remote workforces that need to be protected the same. A quick way to recover if data is lost, and from a BCDR standpoint, those users need to be considered and how to get them back up and running if there is some sort of PC issue and they are 50 minutes from a nearest office location.
Absolutely. We let loose the Kraken, right? So we got all these remote workers that are out there. A lot of them aren't coming back now, are they? How are we going to protect them?
Yeah, I see, one other thing that's a little bit different than that is the ransomware piece again, right? So
yeah.
Ransomware is such a hot topic right now. And some of our vendors right now are developing newer and greater solutions to help protect or help recover from ransomware attacks, not necessarily protect, but protection and recovery are both big topics for ransomware because it doesn't seem to be getting any better.
Yeah, certainly as these supply chain hacks start to happen out there, producing more and more ransomware. The opportunities now to have the conversation with your customer about BCDR because it's top of mind. They're reading it in the newspaper every day when they come into work. So it's time to make some money.
And I always like to throw out there that I know we talk pretty solution heavy today, or at least technology wise, but training is more important than ever, right? Because now with these users no longer being within the four walls of your building, there's going to be more training required to have them be more proactive and aware of ransomware attacks, social engineering attacks, etc., now that they're doing it from the comfort of their own home.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We talk about BCDR from protecting our data. Let's make sure that people don't get in there. Certainly our pro services has the ability to do pen testing capability, which I'd say would be square one as far as business continuity strategy is concerned.
And there's other topics about storage and immutable storage and all those features that are coming out to help protect everybody.
Yeah, immutable storage is a big topic right now.
So awesome, guys. Thank you very much for everybody's time. Please, if you have any questions, reach out to data-center@ingrammicro.com and we'll be happy to help you.